Okay, well, welcome everybody. The five of you that are here, four of you, and me, I guess five. So, hello. Um, just to kick things off, Ethan or not Ethan, Ian. I guess I was going to talk about the weather challenge, but I think me and you are the only ones in it. So, and we're the top two in the university. So, high five.
Did they get the problem fixed last night? I seen or a couple nights ago in chat that you said or Nathan said there was a problem with submitting the forecast.
Yeah, they've been having issues with that, and I mean that was the only time it happened to where like whenever you sometimes. So one time, whenever we just signed up, I signed everybody up from the synoptic class. Like it wiped out the whole roster. Like I couldn't get see the roster. Like, oh god, what happened? And then there's just a bug that the roster will just disappear. And then if there's no roster, it won't let you actually submit a forecast because it says your ID is not valid because you're not in the system. And then, but after a while, the roster comes back, and then you're able to put stuff in. So that's what happened there. So that was the issue. But yeah, it was a messed up ordeal, but it's getting better. Like the new website is not as flawed. It runs smoother. It's nicer, and whatnot. So that's good. I was gonna talk about shirts, but I think everyone in here actually. I have all of your orders. I think from last semester. If you guys still want the same stuff, um, Ian, I don't have anything from you, but if you want something, I think you're in that Google
Are we
Doc.
are we making two shirts? Are we doing one for this semester and last semester, or just gonna do one collectively?
We'll do this one, and then we'll maybe do one in the spring.
Okay.
I would assume probably, depending on how things go.
Will that one be more of a club shirt and less collective?
Yes, it'll be more club oriented. I actually kind of have a design in mind. Kind of want to pull one out from years ago. So if you go on the third floor of Tillman, there's a yellow one in the trophy case. I think that one's. I kind of want to bring that one back from the dead. That one's pretty cool looking, or we could still make our own. So I mean, we could still design it if anybody wants to throw out designs. That's fine too. But I know that one in the trophy case actually looks pretty cool.
So with
we're gonna do again another one.
with spring, I'm technically going to be done this fall with my classes, will they still let us do severe weather club since I'm going to be in Macomb in the spring because I can't leave. I have a lease in this apartment. Will they still let us do severe weather club even if we're not enrolled in the university?
Yes, you can still do it. Like if you go read the Constitution, since we are technically a member of the American Meteorological Society, anybody can come in because it's our area. So yeah, you don't have to be in the club. The only thing, or you don't have to be enrolled. The only thing you can't do if you're not into the university is vote. You cannot vote or anything like that. But yeah, you can definitely still join the club.
Cool. Cool.
That's not an issue. So yeah, that's fine. And so yeah, Ian, if you want to add your shirts in there, you don't have to get them if you don't want to, but I believe you're a member of that Google Doc.
Yeah,
So
I
if you want
definitely want to order some. My question is the sign up form, is it like, do we just put it in on the Google Doc or?
yeah, so if you want to, just add your name and then what you want. Um, and then so like the only people that have access to that are, let me see here, are me, Brandon, Ethan's in there, you're in there, Max in there, Dr. Finch. So us in there, we can actually make edits. Now I can switch it to where. Well, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make it to where anyone can edit.
Yeah,
So
I guess my only question then was whether we should, when I send the email out, should I tell people just to send me what they want and I'll put it down, or if we should open it up to the public? Either is fine. I just want to make sure I send it out correctly.
no, you can do that. You can do it the way you just said it. I mean, it's already been out there to the public last semester. I can put it on Facebook again if we have to. That's not an issue. And then I will send you the design of the shirt.
Yes.
And let me see. I believe they're $20 now. Here's the thing, though. I have to go meet with him tomorrow, so I'm not sure if the price has changed. Since everything happened, we were gonna sell them for $20. I think that would still be okay. I don't think the prices would have changed that much. But that's what it originally was, and I'll have an idea tomorrow. So I'll let you know tomorrow for sure what they are.
Okay.
The only other thing is remember that each X you add on is another $1.
Okay. That's fine.
I'll forward you this email right now. It has the designs and everything we talked about from last semester. It was one Brandon sent out last semester. So I just forwarded you. Oops.
We should also get confirmation from the alumni to make sure they still want their shirts.
Yes, most of them actually have been messaging me asking if we're still doing it, and I said yes. We just got to get things together and things situated. So yeah, and some of them have already paid. So then once we get the shirts in, we just got to ship them to them. And I have all of their addresses on Facebook. I need to actually put their addresses into the Google Doc so that way I don't lose them.
Has there been any
Okay.
word on AMS this next winter? I think somebody said it was going to be in New Orleans this winter, but
Yes. So AMS is in New Orleans. You can go if you want, but majority of it's virtual. They are still having it
so
in person.
they've already decided on virtual then.
Yeah, I mean you can go if you want, but most of the stuff's gonna be virtual if you go anyway.
That sucks.
They're still in person, and then I don't remember where it's at next year, but it'll come back to New Orleans in 20. It's either 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. It just cycles through. It's like New Orleans, Baltimore, Houston. There's another city in there somewhere. Maybe I don't know if Phoenix is still in there. There's a cycle in there with them.
Be cool if they did like Kansas City or Des Moines one year, where like it was the center of the country, like everybody could go to it. I don't know. I mean, it's nice they do it in like warmer cities, but it'd be nice if they did like ChaserCon. They switched it up, like 1 year's in Denver, 1 year's in Wichita, and they were talking about maybe doing 1 year in like Des Moines or something. But it'd be nice if AMS did that.
So that would be nice, like doing that, or maybe having it in like especially like Omaha or Lincoln, to where it's like
where it's like not as far. I mean, New Orleans is like 12 hours from here for us for a drive, and Omaha is only like 5 or 6. So
yeah, and that way, I mean, it's not like you're going to like last year when Boston in January. I didn't want to do that.
That's like an 18-hour drive.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I would have loved to have gone for the 100th anniversary, but it's just that wasn't worth it. And so that's really all the announcements. I don't really have much to talk about weather-wise. It's been pretty quiet. It's going to be pretty quiet. I believe the CPC said we're probably above average coming up temperature-wise and below average on precip. So I guess that's good. I kind of like the fall feel though, so that's kind of sad. But well, it'll come back.
Hurricane season kind of died. I seen.
Yeah, it really kind of it's in that little lull, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna bounce out before the videos. I got a GIS project I'm working on.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Switch over to Windows and might watch for a little bit, but I gotta switch over to Windows and get to work on that since we got software back now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Are you working on Sutton's or are you working on Dang's?
Sutton's. Dang's actually I've talked to him, and since I don't have I did like part of lab 1, and I told him like I don't really have enough knowledge for like 405 yet. He's actually going to let me do the class like later in the semester and over winter break, and then submit my work and then still graduate. Okay. I've working it out with him, and he was real cool about it. So I told him my situation, and he said that was fine. I just get the work to him whenever. So
yeah, he's pretty lenient about stuff like that.
But yeah, the project I'm working on right now is for Sutton. So good.
Okay, yeah. I mean, whenever you need to go, just go. That's fine. So. Okay, so here we go. We'll do this. All right, so yeah, I'll stop after each video and we can kind of discuss if you guys want to. There's not really much to discuss, but if we need to. If you have any questions while the video's going, just post them in the comments and we'll get things going. Okay, so let me turn this back up. All right, so these videos are from the National Weather Service in Memphis, and I'll credit that on YouTube, so hopefully we don't get yelled at. But here we go. This first one is just like it says, the office tour. So.
Hello, I'm Finnegan Gruggett with the National Weather Service in Memphis, and welcome to the first episode of our new series, NWS Memphis All Access. In this series, we will give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the National Weather Service works. Most people have heard of us, but do you know what we do? Our mission is simple: to provide weather, water, climate forecasts, and alerts to protect life and property and to enhance the national economy. The National Weather Service employs approximately 5,000 people across 122 weather forecast offices, 13 river forecast centers, 9 national centers, and various support offices across the country. Locally, our office issues forecasts and alerts for 57 counties in western Tennessee, northern Mississippi, eastern Arkansas, and the Missouri Boot Heel. To show you more about how this works, let's head inside and take a look around. This is our operations area. Here, our team of 23 meteorologists and support staff create forecasts, track river stages, and issue alerts, warning of tornadoes, winter storms, flash flooding, and more. Additionally, forecasters keep tabs on weather conditions near airports and issue appropriate forecasts. At each of these workstations, specially designed software called AWIPS allows meteorologists to view radar data, satellite imagery, and model forecasts.
Here in operations, there are usually 3 to 4 meteorologists, each assigned specific duties. This area is our public forecast desk, which manages social media, fields phone calls, and ensures the office is up and running smoothly. This person also issues certain products, including climate and regional weather summaries.
All right, well, in the meantime, do you need me to resend an email with the updated information?
This is our public forecast desk. This person analyzes data to create a forecast for our area multiple times a day. The public forecaster also issues graphical forecasts and hazardous weather outlooks that appear on our website.
This area is our aviation forecast desk. This individual issues specialized forecasts for airports and also handles any necessary fire weather products. Additionally, this person would be most likely to issue warnings in the event of a small-scale weather event. If there were a major severe weather event, extra meteorologists would be called in and would sit at these workstations, which allow for close collaboration.
Out back, you'll find our co-op weather station. Each day, an employee takes a reading on wind speed, high and low temperatures, and more. There are many co-op weather stations located across the Mid-South, many operated by citizens who are simply just interested in weather.
Another important part of getting weather information out is NOAA Weather Radio. We operate 10 transmitters across the area that provide forecasts, weather information, and most importantly, potentially life-saving weather alerts. You can pick up your own NOAA Weather Radio at any major grocery store.
Remains in effect until 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time Friday. Heat indices 105 to 110 degrees.
We hope you've enjoyed the first episode of NWS Memphis All Access.
Be sure to check back next week when we give you an all-access look at what goes on during a typical day shift here at the National Weather Service.
Okay, was that, you guys hear that okay?
Yeah, that was actually pretty good. I wonder, for some reason, I think the audio was actually going through Google Meets that time. So I wonder if you reload another video, if it'll actually work better.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me. Did you hear that okay? Or
Try muting your mic when you're doing it. I'll see if I can still hear it.
mute my mic? Okay. Hang on one sec.
Yeah, we can still hear it. You are still muted, Anthony.
I like talking to myself, okay? Dang it. All right. So, no, that was the their first, or not their first, that Memphis. I didn't realize they had that many counties down there, 53 of them for that big of an area. I think
Davenport did one of these too.
Yeah, they did I think they did their office, didn't they?
Yeah, it was. I think they only did like one episode. It was like a 3-minute video. They didn't do as many as these guys did, but they did one at least. I know.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
I've seen it.
I actually watched it. Yeah. Yeah. I watched it. We can watch that one sometime soon too. But this one, the reason I chose this one is because they actually went through everything. Like I didn't realize what half of these shifts did and stuff like that. But yeah, I did see the Davenport one. We'll definitely watch that one at some point. And I know there's more out there from different offices. We just haven't gotten to them yet. Okay,
I think it was Huntsville. One of the offices down south did one work in the super outbreak. They did one what it was like to work the super outbreak. It was like 25 minutes long, and it was a pretty good video.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll definitely look at that later tonight, and I'll see what I can do with that. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself again, and then we'll get back into the next video, which is the day shift.
During the day shift here at the National Weather Service office in Memphis, our team of meteorologists works from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. to provide the most accurate, up-to-date forecast possible. The shift begins with the previous shift briefing the incoming staff on what went on during their shift and what they need to keep an eye on. About an hour and a half later, the forecaster begins to prepare the morning area forecast discussion.
So it's 9:30, so it's time for me to update the forecast for today. We issue the forecast every morning at about 3 a.m. and things change between 3 and about 9:30. So what I've done now is update the short term. I'm looking at current radar trends and short term high resolution models, and they're indicating to me that we won't have as much rain chances as we previously thought during this period. So the only update I'm making to the forecast is decreasing rain chances for the next few hours. And I'll just save it and publish it. And update my forecast discussion. And explain why I changed the forecast. Edit a few things and send it out. And it's gone.
After the area forecast discussion is issued, the forecaster begins working on the zone forecast, which is a worded forecast for each county in the area.
And the computer pulls them from the actual grids I've drawn. So the computer pulls them from the grids I've drawn and turns it into actual words. So it's turning pictures into words. My artwork. It takes a few minutes for it to run because it's a lot of data it's pulling from. There we go. So it says rest of the day mostly cloudy with slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the late morning and partly sunny with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. This is for Memphis. So it pulled all of these from the grids I created, pictures I created. And I can go ahead and send these out and they go to the web and to our partners. And that's it for the morning update. Next thing I have to do is work on the 7-day forecast, and I'll start that at about 12:30 today.
Shortly after lunchtime, the aviation forecaster writes the terminal aerodrome forecast, which is a specialized forecast for aviators.
The TAFs are a 24-hour forecast for 4 sites around the Mid-South: Memphis International, Jonesboro, McKellar Sites Airport in Jackson, and Tupelo Regional Airport. So each airport has its unique characteristics. Memphis, we have a lot of overnight travel late in the evening and during the early overnight. Have a lot of traffic. And in Memphis, being the largest or the most busiest cargo airport in the world, so we really have to pay extra attention to thunderstorm chances, and even subtle things like wind direction at Memphis will make a difference for operations. So those are important. We look at several models, 4 or 5 different models for our forecasting, and a lot of times the models have different levels of success in predicting these thunderstorms, and it's sometimes you'll see one model do better than the other, and then the roles reversed, the next day. You just kind of have to see which ones are performing best. So these TAFs are coded up in a fairly rigid format that our aviation customers will read. So we have to, try to fit all the meteorology in just a few lines of text, and that can be a little bit challenging sometimes. So we supplement the TAF, or the terminal aerodrome forecast, with the aviation forecast discussion, where we can be a little more, descriptive of our confidence levels and things such as that, and maybe which models we feel are performing the best, or just give subtle, or just our opinions on how things are evolving presently that we can't put in the TAF. There's a lot of considerations that we have to do when we're doing the TAF here. We have very specific customers, the airlines. Of course, FedEx being headquartered here in Memphis, they bring a lot of aircraft in during the overnight. They depart early in the morning, and they're they very, very weather sensitive. If thunderstorms were to come through when they have an inbound push, that would obviously affect their operations significantly. So we work with FedEx, we work with the FAA in collaborating the TAF, the terminal forecast for Memphis, to help facilitate planning. That's the biggest thing we try to accomplish. We can't control the weather, but if we can give as much advanced notification, then they can plan for that. It's much easier to have aircraft, if they're taking off from the various locations around the country and around the world headed for Memphis. If they know thunderstorms are going to be at Memphis before they get here, they can slow down in flight. If they were to get to the Memphis area and find thunderstorms just popped up unexpectedly, then then the FAA controllers have to suddenly plan for, well, what do we do with all these aircraft? We have to have them hold at low altitude, and it's inefficient. It's a lot of operational. It's just a big operational load, and you would rather just have these thunderstorms planned for ahead of time. It just much better for everyone. So what we're looking at on the short term is the low clouds that are significant to aviation just by themselves, and these were left over from the overnight, and they're gradually beginning to dissipate. So Memphis is right here, and just as soon as they clear out, you've got thunderstorms that are moving in behind them. So there's quite a bit to look at. For a midsummer TAF, it's usually pretty quiet around here for aviation this summer, outside of the isolated afternoon storms, but with a little bit more moisture in the air, a little bit more stronger winds aloft, gets a little bit more active.
Thanks for checking in with us for our second episode of NWS Memphis All Access. Be sure to check back next week.
Interesting. Okay, so let's see.
TAF.
Yeah, the TAF, I don't know much about the TAF. Oops. I know you can do a comment module on TAF, which I need to do. And that'll teach you kind of how to make a TAF and what you're looking for and whatnot. But I don't exactly know much about how to actually make a TAF. But it's very useful. Okay, so the next one is the let's see, that was the day shift. So now we go on to the evening shift. Then after this one, they're not as long. This is the last long one. It'll get shorter. So here we go.
During the evening shift here at the National Weather Service in Memphis, Tennessee, meteorologists work from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. At the start of this shift, meteorologists from the day shift will discuss the latest radar and data trends with meteorologists just starting the evening shift. This will help evening shift meteorologists get a better handle on the latest data trends and will let them know if there are any current storms that need to be monitored closely. Soon after the day shift began, storms started to approach severe limits, and meteorologists with the National Weather Service in Memphis had to take a look at the latest radar data and make a decision if a warning is necessary. After looking at the latest radar data, the meteorologist decided that a warning was necessary. Once the meteorologist decides that a warning is necessary, he or she will begin to draw the warning polygon on his or her screen and select the type of hazards that will be with the storm, the expiration time, and the pace at which the storm is moving. Once the warning is finalized, he or she will issue the product and make it available for the public. A few seconds later, the warning is available for the public and will be displayed on our Facebook and Twitter pages. The warning is then sent out on all NOAA weather radios across the region. Additional meteorologists will monitor phone lines as well as Facebook and Twitter for any severe weather reports.
Here at the National Weather Service, we use the NAWA system, or the National Warning System. Right now, that is a series of phones and phone lines that we can pick up at any time and communicate directly with emergency management officials, police, districts, all kinds of partners that would be important for us to communicate to in the event of severe weather, hazardous weather. It's a good way for us to get reports in our office from these folks that are actually on the ground and out there in the weather. And we have one for each state that's represented in our county warning area, which include Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi.
The aviation meteorologists will also monitor these storms and make any changes if needed to their TAF forecasts or terminal area forecasts.
Here actually just had a severe thunderstorm warning issued on it. All the aircraft here, there's Memphis Airport, all the green aircraft are ones that are departing, all the blue ones are trying to get in. The nice thing about this is that the field is still pretty clear and the aircraft are able to deviate around that with no problem. If you were to take this storm to put it within just a few miles of the airport, you're talking about a lot bigger impact, because now all of a sudden all these aircraft trying to get in, they'd no longer be able to land, and they'd have to hold it just outside the airport range until the storm clears, until the weather improves. It's just too hazardous for them to land in that case. In some cases, though, they start to run low on fuel. They have to divert to a different airport. They wouldn't be allowed to take off either, so that would put them severely behind schedule. Lucky for them, though, and lucky for us, they can continue to run their operations. They just have to watch themselves, though, once they actually take off and get out away from Memphis.
Later on in the evening shift, meteorologists will take a look at the latest model data and make any changes if necessary to the evening forecast. If no changes are necessary, they may take a look at the extended forecasts or take a look at the latest radar image.
We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hazardous weather outlook. This is a product that we issue here at the National Weather Service that highlights the any dangerous weather or impactful weather that will affect the Mid-South over the next or over the 7-day forecast period. Basically, we do it in text format as well as in graphical format, as you can see here, and we're able to manipulate the graphical image to highlight the most impactful weather that we're going to have over the forecast period. In this situation, we have very hot temperatures that are going to impact the forecast area over the next couple of days, and we've provided a graphical portrayal of that impact and areas that will be impacted by the dangerous heat index values. And we also provide a confidence level and the days that we expect the impacts to occur. And that's just based on how confident we are that the hazard will occur in the areas that we have marked off. So that's basically what we do with the hazardous weather outlook, and we issue the hazardous weather outlook and update it anytime we have changing hazards that are going to affect the area.
So we issue routine tasks 4 times a day for 4 airports in our area, which are Memphis, Jackson, Tennessee, Jonesboro, Arkansas, and Tupelo, Mississippi. Like I said, we do these 4 times a day at 0Z, they're for 0Z, 6Z, 12Z, and 18Z. But at Memphis, since we have FedEx, we issue an extra product or an updated product every 3 hours instead of every 6 hours. And at 3Z in the evening is our most important TAF issuance or update for the Memphis airport, because it lets first of all, we have a FedEx push at around midnight, but it starts about 11 p.m. and runs through 1. So issuing our forecast for the Memphis airport at about 10 p.m. gives them an idea of what's going to happen at the airport during the time when most of their planes are going to be taking off and landing. And our TAF issuance, or our forecast issuance at this time, will let them know how much fuel needs to be on planes, what's going to be the conditions over the runways and things of that nature. So it's very important that we put out an accurate forecast at about 10 p.m. every night for the Memphis airport. So beginning at 3Z, I have vicinity thunder showers in, and this was from 3 hours ago when I thought we were going to have thunderstorms in the Memphis area, but they haven't made it this far south. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out thunderstorms for the next few hours at the Memphis airport. Check our latest HER model, which is a high resolution model. And as you can see, our HER model develops thunderstorms over Memphis at about 4Z, but I'm not seeing it happening based on current radar trends. It's not well initialized. And I'm not seeing a lifting agent to cause any thunderstorms to pop up around the Memphis airport by 4Z. So I'm going to leave thunderstorms out, even though the model says there's going to be thunderstorms in the area tonight. And I can always come back and update if thunderstorms are start to pop up. But the closest thunderstorms we currently have are just north of our area, moving slightly into our area. Look at the water map. You can see thunderstorm coverage decreasing up there. So I'm going to take out thunderstorms for the night and cumulonimbus clouds. And adding a from group changes the weather pattern, so I'm not expecting this to change overnight. So my next from group will not be in the morning.
Once any fine-tuning is done, the meteorologist will issue his or her TAF, or Terminal Area Forecast.
And they're out.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of NWS Memphis All Access. Be sure to check back next Friday.
Okay, so like I said, the next ones aren't going to be that long. It'll be 4 minutes, 6 minutes, and 6 minutes, and then they're done. But the next ones are actually kind of more interesting. But, you know, it is what it is. But it's kind of nice seeing all this stuff. But yeah, okay, so we'll jump right in.
The midnight shift at the National Weather Service is perhaps the hardest of the 3 shifts to work, mainly because of the odd hours. Meteorologists start work at midnight and don't get off until 8 a.m. The midnight shift, however, does have a relatively light workload in that not as many products are issued, and of course, not as many people are calling with weather-related questions. Important tasks in the midnight shift are recording climate data, updating airport forecasts, and getting the office ready for another day's work. There are typically only 2 meteorologists on duty, the aviation forecaster and the public forecaster. Every 6 hours, a climate observation consisting of temperature and precipitation is taken and recorded for archival purposes.
So we take an observation every 6 hours. It's called a climate observation, and we use the thermometer here for max and min for that every 6 hours. We check that, and then we record that in our book, and then use that for the climate data that gets sent out to NCDC. The other information we do is we'll go outside and check the precipitation every 6 hours. In the wintertime, we check for snowfall, if there is any snow, and then once a day, snow depth, if the snow is greater than 2 inches on the ground. So the climate report's just to know what's happened in the past and to keep a continual information of what the weather's been like in Memphis for as long as we can. So.
Shortly after taking the climate observation, the meteorologist issues a climate summary for 4 locations across the Mid-South, detailing daily high and low temperatures, precipitation, highest wind gusts, and more. Before issuing the climate summary, the meteorologist must verify the day's observations, meaning he or she must look at temperature, precipitation, wind speed, and reported weather conditions to ensure they line up with what actually happened. This helps to ensure that faulty data is not reported as actual in the climate summary.
According to this, we had no rain, but here we have a trace. So I'll check into that.
In this particular case, the report shows that a trace of rain fell today at the Memphis International Airport. The meteorologist is fairly confident that we did not receive any rainfall. He confirms through airport observations that no rain fell at the airport. This means he must now correct the climate summary to remove the faulty data. At around 3 a.m., it's time for the public forecaster to update his area forecast discussion. This is a technical discussion detailing the methodology behind issuing the forecast that morning. This details any upcoming weather events and what to expect over the next couple of days. At around 6 a.m., the public service meteorologist arrives at work and begins her day answering phones, fielding questions on social media, posting graphics on the website, and issuing certain weather products. Just before 8 a.m., the day shift moves in and the midnight shift heads out to get some much-needed rest. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of NWS Memphis All Access. Be sure to check back next Friday for another brand new episode. The Co-op, or Cooperative Observer Program, is a vital part of executing the mission of the National Weather Service. Co-op observers volunteer to have a collection of weather instruments placed at their location. Each morning, the nearly 100 co-op observers across the Mid-South take weather observations consisting of maximum and minimum temperature, wind speeds, and precipitation.
You can see the front comes through here. What's today? Today's Wednesday.
Yearly visits are made to each co-op site in the area to ensure that the equipment is functioning properly. On this particular day, we visited a co-op observer in Germantown, Tennessee. Before we head there, let's take a look at the co-op station outside the National Weather Service office in Memphis.
Observers have several methods that they can use to send in their weather data. They can either submit it online, they can call it in via a phone system, or they can call it in here to our office. And we have a mixture of observers that do each of those things. Typically, most cooperative weather stations are going to have the standard 8-inch NWS Weather Service rain gauge. and there's an inner tube inside of here. The rain collects in here through this funnel and is measured, like I said, every 24 hours. For a 24-hour precipitation total that's reported in the office. And then also what we call an MMTS unit, which is basically a measure of temperature that gets read every 24 hours here at the office. A lot of our cooperative sites have what we call a Fisher-Porter rain gauge. This is a weighing bucket rain gauge. So inside of here there's actually a bucket that collects rainfall. And this is not something that has to be checked every day. This is actually recorded via an electronic device inside of here, and it can be downloaded onto a flash drive and submitted monthly. And we can see, based upon the, how much rain was weighed inside the gauge, how much rain fell approximately on each day. Also here at our office, the site we're at now here at the Agri Center, we also measure soil temperature. A lot of the co-op sites also measure soil temperature. This is important for agriculture purposes. This here is a 2-inch soil temperature gauge, so it's actually measuring the soil temperature 2 inches down below the surface. And this is a 4-inch soil temperature gauge. And it's doing the same thing except at 4 inches. And then here we have an evaporation pan. Evaporation, of course, important for agriculture purposes, for farming. So this pan here, we fill it with water. It has an arbitrary level. And each morning we take a reading here from this little cylinder of the level of water in the pan. And then we'll subtract that from yesterday's total to figure out how much water was lost yesterday due to evaporation. And then of course we have an anemometer here to measure wind speed.
Now out to Germantown, where we find a longtime NWS Memphis co-op observer. He has a wide collection of weather instruments, including the co-op related equipment and additional personal systems. In this particular group, we find most of the co-op equipment, in addition to a visibility sensor and various tools to determine how low the cloud base is. Inside this box is where the thermometers are stored. They are stored in this compartment to prevent direct exposure to sunlight, which would lead to a less accurate temperature reading. On the other side of the backyard, we find the observer's personal equipment, which consists of a Davis weather station, monitoring temperature, wind speed and direction, humidity, and precipitation. Additionally, this station has a dew sensor and a rain gauge.
In order to report the observations that they take each morning around 7 a.m., one of the methods, and actually the preferred method now with the weather service, the co-op program, is online program. So the observer would go in and put in their variables that they take, normally max temperature, min temperature at least, and that observation temperature, what the temperature was when they took the observation. For 24-hour precipitation, if there were any snowfall or snow depth. Then of course here for our office and several co-op sites that we have that measure the max and min 2-inch soil temperature, max and min 4-inch soil temperature. Also that evaporation and the 24-hour movement in the wind. If the observer doesn't have this software, they can also use their phone to call in our observations. We compile all these observations for a product that we send out late in the morning, typically 10 or 11 o'clock we send this out. This contains all the basically all the cooperative observer observations for the past 24 hours. And all we're reporting in this product is the high, the low, and the at-observation temperature, as well as precipitation. But these contain all near 90 co-op stations that we have around the Mid-South. In addition, some sites like what we have here at the Agri Center just do agriculture ops. So they'll do the temperatures and precip, but they'll also do soil temperatures, evaporation, and wind. And this is a product that we issue every day around the same time as the co-op product. It's a daily agriculture observations, and it contains that information. In addition to cooperative observers, we also have CocoRaws observers. This is a completely free for anybody to join. You can go to cocораws.org to sign up for that. But you basically take a precipitation measurement every day at your location. Some people have rain gauges like this, but there's typically a smaller 4-inch rain gauge that you can buy. And you can actually help us record weather observations. You don't have to be a cooperative observer because you can be a CocoRaws observer. So if you're interested, go to cocораws.org and get signed up for your location.
Thanks for watching this episode of NWS Memphis All Access. Check the links in the description for more information on the Twice a year, the National Weather Service office in Memphis goes on tour across the area promoting weather safety and preparedness. This tour, kicking off in mid-September, consists of 15 stops across the area. At each stop, a meteorologist discusses weather preparedness with media and emergency officials and also holds a Skywarn Storm Spotter training session in that area. Today's stop takes us to St. Francis County, Arkansas. One quick promotional video for the Storm Spotter training class this evening, and we'll be on our way.
You may want to landscape it, yeah.
Hey everybody, we are heading out to St. Francis County today doing some important media and emergency management visits. Also doing the Storm Spotter training class tonight. That'll be at 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Forest City Civic Center in the Ferguson Room. So if you're there in the Forest City area, hope to see you out there this evening.
The outreach program is really an important part of our services and our mission in the Weather Service. We can put out fantastic warnings and advisories and services, but if our key partners aren't getting that information in a timely manner, and if the public doesn't know what to do with that information, how to respond, then we really haven't accomplished a whole lot. So it's really important for us to not just put out good forecasts and warnings and information, but to have those good relationships and make sure that everybody's prepared for whenever the bad weather comes around. The storm spotters really play an important role in the warning system because we have Doppler radar and satellites and computer workstations that do a great job detecting the storms, but we still need those human eyes filling in the gaps in the information that the electronic tools can't give us. And we're monitoring social media, we're conversing, collaborating with our media partners and relaying reports and information. But when we get a report from a trained storm spotter, we'll give that a little bit more weight because we know that they've been through this program and know that they know what to look for and what to report.
Once arriving in Forest City, the meteorologist gets to work meeting with local officials. The visits are great opportunities to hear any questions or comments that media or other personnel have for the National Weather Service.
We're supposed to monitor Memphis.
Yes.
We can't pick it up.
Right. Permission or whatever, you could monitor Mark.
This is also a great chance to ensure that individuals related to the warning process know how to get in touch with the Weather Service office.
Just multiple copies of the same disc.
On this particular trip, stops were made at a local radio station, newspaper, and the emergency manager's office. After a quick dinner, the meteorologist heads to the venue to begin setting up for the Storm Spotter training class. He arrives about an hour early to ensure that everything is set up properly for the 6:30 class. Brought along is a computer and a projector for the presentation, pamphlets and brochures for storm spotting information, and an application to become a Skywarn storm spotter. Once the doors are open and people begin filing in, they're offered material to follow along in the class and to register as a storm spotter.
Fill one of these out for us and then just drop it in the blue bin underneath there when you're done. All right. You definitely want one each of these. That's the references what we're going to cover tonight. And then you can help yourself into the other literature that you like.
All right, I'll get one.
All righty. Appreciate you coming over this evening.
Yes, sir.
Of our fall severe weather season here in the Mid-South. So while we a lot of times think about spring as our primary severe weather season, which it is, we can have a significant secondary peak of severe weather in the fall and even into the winter things. So our first pop quiz question of the night. Name a reason why the Mid-South leads the nation in killer tornadoes. There were 3 of them. A large-scale rotation inside the storm. This rotation area will accelerate the updraft, allowing the storm to produce even larger hail to get stronger than it might otherwise. We know we can count on you all for good observations and reports. Combine that with our radar data, hopefully issue better warnings and keep everybody safe. That's what the bottom line of this is all about. Thank you all for your attention and thank you all for coming out this evening.
All right, well, that was a good afternoon and evening over in St. Francis County, and we'll probably be back at the office in Memphis about between 10 and 10:15. And that is one out of about 15 that we'll do this fall. So we'll re-rack and get ready for the rest of the fall tour. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon, this evening. Hope it gave you a little insight as to just what we do as far as outreach when we're out on the road. And hope to see y'all at one of the future talks, either this fall or sometime in the future.
Thanks for joining us for this episode.
Okay, so I don't know if you can see me anymore. It's kind of dark. Yeah, that's it. So those are those two, or that video. I mean, they're like me and Ethan were saying. There's a whole bunch of other videos out there that other officers are doing, but that was the most that I found consecutively. Went a little longer than I. Yeah. Say I watched that for the first time probably. It was last Saturday, week ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't know. But yeah, that was a little longer than I anticipated it being, but still good videos, and hopefully somebody will watch the YouTube and be able to see
Link to that playlist too, and I'll put it in the email.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Definitely do that. Okay, so that ends this week. I don't really know what we're gonna have planned for next week, but it's something along the line that we've been doing. So, thank you guys for being here, and we will see you next week.
Hey, man.
Yep.